أعوذ بالله من الشيطان اللعين الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين وعلى أهل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. Assalamu alaikum jamiyan, and thank you very much for joining us for this third session in this level and 10th session since level 1. As I said in one of the emails, we are going to continue calling them as 10th and the 11th, so that because this is an ongoing course. So sometimes if you would like to go back, then it's easier for me to say go to session 2, session 3, instead of no different course. But of course, all the recordings and slides of these will be posted under ALI-620. Those of us who joined us in this level, if they would like to listen to the all slide, listen to all recordings or refer to all slides, then that is under ALI-607. No, sure. So as usual, let us begin with the dua, which has been taught to us by Imam Sadiq al-Islam. And this is, as I said, just a passage, just a part of the dua before starting the tilawah. The beauty about this dua is that it just keeps us focused in what is to be taken from the Quran, and that's very important. When I went to study in Hausa in 1980s, there was so little we knew about Quran, so little. Although I was teaching madrasa for many years, I knew how to recite Quran, but as far as what is to be taken from the Quran was never a focus. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. Allahumma inni nashartu ahdaka wa kitabaka faj'al nadri fihi ibadah wa qira'ati fihi fikra wa fikri fihi i'tabara wa la taj'al qira'ati qira'atan la tadabbura fiha bal ij'alni atadabbaru ayatihi wa ahkami innaka anta ar-rahufur rahim. A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. Bismillahir rahmanir rahim. إذا جاء نصر الله والفتح ورأيت الناس يدخلون في دين الله أفواجا فسبح بحمد ربك واستغفره إنه كان توابا. My teachers used to say when we went to house always that you always start your class or your day with recitation of the Quran, because when we recite Quran, Allah is talking to us. This is what the hadith says. When you recite dua, when we do dua, we are talking to Allah. But when we recite Quran, because these are the words of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He's talking to us. So imagine when you start your day or your class or your project, in such a way that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the Creator, full of mercy, full of generosity, full of love, full of grace, full of affection, right? Full of beneficence, is talking to you. So it is important, and that is why beginning next class, I would like to have volunteers who would just volunteer to recite a short surah. I won't name anybody because maybe perhaps you may not like it, but just let us know that in case you like to volunteer, it will be good. So, alhamdulillah, I was very pleased to see that this week we had many people who submitted the homework. That was quite good, number one. Number two, not only that they submitted, but most of them did it correctly. They understood the concepts. And number three, most of them were received by us by Monday. Even if by Monday evening, that was fine. So at least yesterday I had time to go through them, and I tried to give my comments or feedback to each and every one of you. In case anybody who has sent the homework and did not receive my feedback, please let me know later on, and I'll check it. I try not to miss out, but in case you never know, sometimes you got you're overwhelmed with some of things taking place, so it may be missed out. So please do let us know. Last week, as we stopped, we were discussing this thing, and there was this concept of alif, and what we were discussing about. When alif does not have any of the vowel signs, it automatically carries a sakin on it, even if it does not. It is not marked. And alif with sakin is known as hamzatul wasl. This hamzatul wasl is also known as hamzatul. It's a weak alif or even a connecting alif, right? So it is something For example, when we say Alhamdulillah, I mean, Alhamdulillah is Alif Lam is actually for definite article, the. But that Alif is weak, is not recited. We say Alhamdulillah because that is how we start the ayat. No? But if you want to start in ayat, it will not be recited. That Alif will be silent. But of course, when you start, you always start with the harakah, right? It's difficult to start with a sakin. So keep in mind that Hamzat Wasl always carries sakin, even if it's not marked there. Sometimes not marked. If you find alif without any kind of mark, without fatha, without kasra, without dhamma, that means it's automatically a silent alif. So keep this in mind. This is something we were discussing last week, but there was still some questions, so I will just very quickly go. When preposition min is followed by the word beginning with Hamzatul Wasl, the preposition min will change to mina. Because why? The meeting of two letters with sakin is known as iltika as-sakinain. Lika in Arabic means to meet. For example, in Quran, one of the words for death is lika Allah, meeting Allah. When I die, of course, Allah is there, but when I die, I will now be able to view the mercy of Allah and everything, right? So known as lika Allah. So those who deny the lika, so iltika is meeting. So when there are two sakin, for example, here you can see here, fanzalna, the second here, no, you can see here, fanzalna على الذين ظلموا, right? So على الذين ظلموا رجس من السماء. So it's min, and then here, for example, this is Hamzatul Wasl here in the second line here. So this is sakin and this is sakin. Although this sakin is not usually written, but you can see when there is two sakin, it is very difficult. And not only that, even as-sama, if you see, is shadda, tashdid, right? Tashdid is the double, no? So you can see as-sama. So there's actually three sakin, you see. So what they do is that they put a fatha on noon, mina, and then sama, of course, because this is silent, right? The shadda here has come on account of idgham. Now, I do refer to sometimes tajweed rules because you people ask, but I hope that you already have gone through tajweed rules. It's very important. If there is, in fact, there are so many websites, also video clips regarding tajweed rules. I highly recommend all of you to, during your time, try to go through this. So this is, the shadda is there on sin because of idgham, because this is the sun letter, right? It was min al-sama, but min al-sama, because this lam becomes idgham into sin. Right? So you can see it becomes min al-sama. You can see here, فَأَنزَلْنَا عَلَى الَّذِينَ ظَلَمُوا رِجْسًا مِنَ السَّمَاءِ. You see, فَأَنزَلْنَا عَلَى الَّذِينَ ظَلَمُوا رِجْسًا مِنَ السَّمَاءِ. It was min, it became min as-sama, okay? Because it's difficult to what we call as-sama, because when they shadda, there is also sakin and fatha. So min as-sama is easy, but to say min as-sama with two sakin is very difficult. No? So it's not iltika sakin. So keep this in mind. We discussed this thing also in level 1, and we also discussed last week, but I just want to go over it, so you know. In the same way, for example, fatakuna, he says, وَبَاءُوا بِغَضَبٍ مِّنَ اللَّهِ. وَبَاءُوا بِغَضَبٍ مِّنَ اللَّهِ, right? So بِغَضَبٍ مِّنَ اللَّهِ, right? So we just say وَبَاءُوا بِغَضَبٍ مِّنَ اللَّهِ. You see, it was min, but min Allah, it became min Allah because of what? Sakin. So the moment there are two sakin, the first one will take a harakah, will take a vowel sign, becomes easier on the tongue, Allah. In the same way, fatakuna min al-zalimin. It was min al-zalimin, but min al-zalimin. Okay? So it is now clear that how this iltika sakinin, meeting of two sakin, and because of that, it's difficult on the tongue. The first will take a fatha, will take a vowel. It's easier, no? We go to the next.
This is Farouk. Can I ask a quick question?
Yes.
These rules that you are referring to right now, were these rules in existence with the Holy Prophet and Imam Ali alayhi salam, or have these rules evolved with time from a Quranic sciences perspective?
You know, you should know one thing, that of course, as they were Arabs, it came to them naturally, these things. No, it was only later on that these rules were codified for people to understand, because we are not Arabs. We don't live in Arabic atmosphere and speak the language. if you are in that environment and as they speak this thing, especially those who speak Fusa is the language which is clear, which is across the board. There is Fusa, there is Ammi. Ammi is local dialect. Fusa is the standard language, of the Quran. So if you were to speak Fusa language all the time in an environment, these rules will you don't even have to learn the rules. It will automatically come to you. Like, for example, English, if you learn English a lot, if you speak English all the time, as you are speaking and trying to write or articulate, there are so many rules you are following which you don't even know. But for somebody who is learning English as a second language, they would not understand what you are saying. They have to go through the rules. So that is how these rules, whether Prophet, Imam did or not, we don't know, but these were developed for us to understand, that this is how it became. But for Arab, it automatically, he will know that this is Minas Sama, and he doesn't even know the rule, but he automatically know. In fact, in olden days, many, many years before, in fact, there was not even harakat, right? These harakat also were put later on because there were non-Arabs who were now learning Quran, and they were making so many mistakes in the recitation. So to aid them, to help them, they, in fact, added all these things. In fact, nowadays you get, for example, Tajweed Quran, right? This was, when I was a student, there was never like Tajweed Quran. This is a new concept, because what happened, that people have realized that, if the rules are not there in the Quran itself, people may make mistake. So nowadays, for example, you got Tajweed Quran with all the rules and all the color coding and everything. This has happened, right? As people, they realize. In the same way, I have a feeling that these rules were codified for us to understand. But as far as they were concerned, they were reciting it correctly, as it should be. We go to the next slide. This is where, we had this homework. And as I said, mashallah, many of you did, submit your homework. Let me just get rid of this thing. And it was done well. So this is what we have highlighted, and it will be a good revision also of our discussion on preposition. The question was highlight preposition before nouns. Now, some of us also highlighted before pronouns. No, a noun and a pronoun is a different thing. In this case, we just wanted before pronouns. So here it is, أنه الحق من ربهم. So it was min ربهم, it became min ربهم. Of course, again, as I said, this shadda on ra is on account of what idgham, which is a tajweed rule, idgham. But min rabbihim, so it is min, which is a preposition, and rabbihim, right? So it became rabbi. It became what with kasra rabbi. And because it is rabbi, also he becomes rabbuhum becomes rabbihim, on account of kasra on ha and also on ba and also kasra rabbihim. Because as I said, it is easier on the tongue to say rabbihum than rabbihim. Rabbihim easier. So min rabbihim. So this is the first case. And then, of course, we go all the way to ayat number, this 26, right? 27, right? Ahadallahi min ba'di. Now, ba'di is, we are going to do today. Ba'di is also one of the noun, but it also behaves like a pronoun. We are going to come to it later on, inshallah. But min ba'di, you can say min ba'di. Min ba'di. Again, here, they will not mention here, but for idgham, there will be mim on ba. It is mim ba'di. This is again idgham rule. Idgham here is that if there is a nun sakin before ba, then that nun sakin will turn to mim sakin. So it is a mim ba'di. It's similar like the word minbar. Actually, we say mimbar because it is written, if you see the spelling of mimbar is minbar. But because it's nun sakin, and after that there is ba, it's mimbar. Or anbiya instead of anbiya. But these are idgham rules. So mim ba'di, right? And then here it is fil ardi. Yes, Ali, your question?
Assalamu alaikum. Sorry, I forgot to change my name. I wanted to ask you, it would be mim ba'du, right? If there was no preposition.
Yeah, if there was no preposition ba'du, yes.
And then it would be fil ardu, right?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Correct. Yeah. If it was not because of preposition, yes.
Okay, and then
So
for rabbihim, it would be rabbuhum.
yes, that's correct. Rabbuhum.
So the ba would have a dhamma and it'd be ha mim dhamma, right?
Yeah, because of ba also ha also is dhamma because kasra. Yeah,
Okay.
kasra. So this is our fil ardi, and then we continue. Billahi, you can see it's ba and Allah. Billahi, takfuna billahi. No. Then we go all the way again here. Fil ardi, ma fil ardi. Ila sama'i. This is ila sama'i. Ila is a preposition, so ila sama'i. It is sama'u, but ila sama'i, right? Then bikulli. Now this was missed by many of us, bikulli. And this kul means to know everything. It comes in Dua Kumel a lot. We will sometimes bring about those phrases as example later on. Bikulli, bikulli, right? Lil malaikati. This was also missed by a number of people. Lil malaikati. No, Rabbuka is called Rabbuka lil malaikati. When your Lord talked to the angel, right? Lil malaikati. So it is li, and sometimes as we said that no, li is also becomes la, lahu, for example. But that is only with pronouns, right? With nouns, it will always be li. Li becomes la, with some pronouns, as we said in earlier class. No, so lil malaikati. Fil ardi is number of times, right? Fil ardi number one, this is the third time fil ardi comes. No? And then we continue here, right? Here it is alal malaikati, like lil malaikati, same name. Alal malaikati, alal malaikati. Bi asma'i, bi asma'i, ambiuni bi asma'i, with the and then of course bi asma'ihim. You can see this is bi asma'i, with his name and with their names. Kala ya Adam ambiuni ambihum bi asma'ihim. Adam just informed about their names, not bi asma'ihim. So bi asma'ihim. This is bi asma'i, bi asma'i. This is asma'i, his, just bi asma, be name, with the name, but bi asma'ihim, with their name. Bi asma'ihim, again, same as bi asma'ihim, again here come. And then lil malaikati again. Now here, we'll discuss about this thing. Some of us have also highlighted this. Ghayb as-samawati wal ardi. Thinking that no, because this is wawul qasam, for example, washamsi, so this is wal ardi. And this was tricky, I understand. Some of you did highlight this thing. I don't blame you, because on the face of it, it looks like no wawul qasam. But this wal ardi is on account of other rule. We are going to come later on learn about mudaf ilayhi. No, we will do it, which also changes into kasra. But this is not account of that. But we will come to the discussion, inshallah. I'll put in a slide. Again, the malaikat is there. This was the most tricky, Adama. Some of you did highlight, some of you did not. Those who did not, of course, I understand, because there is no Adami. It is Adama, the Adama. No. So it's called the malaikat the Adama. So li is still there, but it is Adama instead of Adami. And that's why many of us missed. And of course, I don't blame you if you missed out, because it does not look like preposition. But li is a preposition, you should know. The only tricky thing is that Adama instead of Adami is Adamu. So we will come to that also in the next slide. Okay? And then of course, Liba'adin. This is also sometimes missed out. Ba'd also is like a noun, but behaves like a preposition. We'll come to it today. Fil ardi is there. Ilahin. Min rabbihi. See, this min rabbihim, this is min rabbi. Same effect. You say min rabbi, rabbihi, min rabbihim. You can see. Now, bi ayatina, bi ahdi, bi ahdikum. Now, ahad is a covenant or promise. Bi ahdi, bi ahdikum. Right. So these are the these are the nouns which are preceded by prepositions. Any questions before I go to the next slide? We'll now discuss some of the common mistakes which people missed out. We'll discuss it, but what is highlighted? Anybody has a question regarding those?
Yes.
Yes, go ahead. Go ahead.
Sorry, I have a question. Why did you not highlight min al-kafirin and min al-zalimin?
Yeah, we'll come to it. Min al-kafirin, min al-zalimin also definitely is correct, but we have not highlighted it here because this kafirin and zalimin are plural, and this in Arabic there are two kinds of plural. One is Jamma Salim and Jamma Taksir, right? So this is sound plural. It's known as sound plural, which we have not done because in sound plural, when it comes to min, it does not take kasri. From kafirun becomes kafirin. Do you see? So that's why, since we have not covered that thing as yet, I did not highlight it. But if you highlighted it, you are right. Min al-kafirin al-zalimin is a noun preceded by preposition. But it is, these are nouns are known as Jamma Salim, sound pronoun. We are coming to it, but we will discuss that because I don't want to bring a lot of rules at a time. I noticed from the first level, actually, some of us also did not join the second level because they found these rules overwhelming. When I try to cover a lot of rules within a class, they find it overwhelming. Okay. So we'll come to, but yes, you're right that it is correct, but we have not done it for now.
Can I ask?
Yes, go ahead.
What about in kuntum sadiqin?
No. Yeah, that was somebody did. That's not correct. In kuntum sadiqin, which ayat you're talking? Here it is, yeah. In kuntum sadiqin, because in is not a preposition.
Right. Okay.
Right. So where is the, we want a noun preceded by preposition. In is not a preposition.
Right.
Kuntum is a pronoun. Sadiqin, of course, is again a sound plural of sadiq. So it's not a preposition.
I have a question. I stand by. Is there
Yes.
any example of a preposition before pronoun in here?
Preposition before, yes, many, of course, right? Because before pronoun, here it is now, for example, here it is. Bihi here, yudillu bihi. Do you see here ayat?
Yeah, okay.
Bihi, kasiram, again bihi here, again bihi here. Do you see? So these are all what preposition before a pronoun. But our question here is, you can say highlight preposition before nouns.
Yeah.
Okay. And we did discuss, as you know, you were there in level 1. We discussed preposition for quite a number of sessions, I think 2 to 3 sessions. No? So that's why I didn't want to spend so much time. Any other questions? I go to the next slide. So this is the slide which now discusses about some of the mistakes common. First of all, as I said, we received homework from many of you, which I really find that it's good. This is the progress. I can see that people are now catching up and also understanding the concepts and trying to put efforts into it. And I also realized that some of us is finding difficult to use a slide already in the homework slide within the old slide. So inshallah, beginning tomorrow when I send this homework, I will send as a separate slide, so you can just work on that. I'll do it later. But I can see that when we showed you how to use Tanzil.net, some of you have been able to do that. That was good, very good. No? So that was very good. Now I hope that this trend will continue. Whenever you send a homework, the name of that file, if possible, name like this, HW, and then your name. For example, if your name is Yasmin, write Yasmin, and then lesson number. For example, today, next homework will be lesson 10. And then the extension of this document or PIN or document, whatever is there, fine, PDF. But try to name this thing. This is how I save in my folder, because it's easy for me to know that who is given. So homework HW, and then just underline, then your name, just first name, Yasmin or Ali or Razia or Kaiser, like this, right? And then lesson 0909. Do like this, it will be easier for me to know that, for example, hold on. Okay, so this is just, and always use only one email, Director of Academic Islam. Sometimes, for example, if you see me using different emails, it's just because we have volunteers and I'm using, for example, different kind of device or maybe, but this is the thing which I use for all my work at the academy. And I'm in the office, I do this thing. So please use this thing. Try not to use any other email. As I said, a few of us missed highlighting the Adama. Now, I don't blame anybody doing this thing because it is something tricky. Now, this is what we are learning. Because the letter meme has fatha instead of kasra. We said that no preposition brings kasra, right? In this case, it's Adama. Why? they belong to a group of words known as diptones. Now, don't worry about this. These are grammatical words. No, we never come across this in a whole our life. No? So don't worry. But just there's a group known as diptones, right? These are not formed from Arabic words. The Arabs say that if any name, its origin is not Arabic root word, no, then that will not be a proper it will not be a proper word. No? You can see Arabs are very, very, very particular about that. No, they're very proud of their language, and it's very rich language. So any word which is, for example, let's say Makkah, although it's in Arabic, city in Makkah, or Misr, which is city in Makkah, right? Even Fatima, which is the name of Bibi Fatima, or Fatima Binti Asad, right? Fawatim, right? Fatima, for example, in fact, Imam Ali, when he went, did Hijrat to Medina from Makkah after Prophet had left, he went with Fawatim, right? They say along with him was Fawatim. Fawatim is the plural of Fatima, right? But even then, because that name has not been formed from a root word, a verb, then they would know it will not, for example, take a kasra, right? These are for example, some of the names. They will not take the mean, nor do they take kasra. Right? They take either dhamma or fatha. So Adam is one of this name. Li-Adama. The word Adam also appears in verses. So Li-Adama is not this number of times appears in the Quran. Li-Adam appears in verse Surah 7, Ayat 11, 1761, 1850, and 21:6. You can see another 4 places. So 5 times in the Quran, Li-Adama comes. In all these cases, because rule is a rule, in all these cases, it's Li-Adama, not Li-Adami. Okay, that's a good thing. And then, of course, I also take another ayat. For example, this is ayat number 115 from Surah 20, which is Surah Taha. وَلَقَدْ أَهِدْنَا إِلَىٰ آدَمَ. You can see ila is also a preposition, like min, right? But still ila Adam, not ila Adami. Min qabl, no? Min qabl. فَنَسِيَ وَلَمْ نَجِدْ لَهُ azma. No? So this is Adam is one of these words. So keep in mind that there are certain words which will not take kasra. Now, examples of diptones are Fatima, Makkah, Misra, and maybe others. Look at this dua, for example. This is a dua. Those of you who have Android or iPhone, you can download the Tahajjud app. No? There's a beautiful dua to be recited in Namaz Witr. Namaz Witr. That is a beautiful dua wherein, for example, it says, Allahumma salli ala Muhammadin wa aliyin wa Fatimata wal Hasani wal Husaini wa Zajjadi wal Bakiri, all the way to the 12th Imam. So you see, 2 things here I would like to notice. First of all is Allah, right? Allah, because Allah is a preposition. This is Muhammadin, Allah Muhammadin wa aliyin. So what happens is that the same Allah will also apply to also Ali. Allah Muhammadin or Aliyin. So Aliyin also becomes kasratain, becomes also because of preposition Allah. Because this waw means n, and this waw, whatever follows after waw will take the rule of the previous word. So if Muhammadin has kasratain, Aliyin also has kasratain. You see, it is so Ali wa Fatimata. You see, it's not Fatimatu, it's not Fatimatu, but Fatimata. You see, Allahumma salli Muhammadin wa aliyin wa Fatimata wal Hasani wal Husaini, right? Was Sajjadi wal Bakiri, in all the way. So 2 things here. One is Fatima is nipped out, right? Fatima is nipped out, and that's why it does not become Fatimatin, still Fatima. And secondly, whatever applies after preposition, if there is a noun, in whatever that noun has, for example, rule, is Muhammadin, the same will apply to whatever appears after verb, and that is exactly what it was. For example, earlier here you see, it was a ghaibas samawati. Inni a'lamu ghaibas samawati. Now, ghaibas samawati, this is because of what? Because of mudaf alayh. We'll come to that. But because it is a samawati, and after that there is waw, because samawati is kasra, earth also is a kasra. So this waw is not because of that. Now we are also coming to discussion again there. So keep this in mind that no, this Adama. In the same way, if you don't know this, okay, maybe this dua might not have come across what I'm discussing, but all of us, alhamdulillah, have done amal in Shab Qadr, right? the nights of Qadr, we recite, right? Keeping our Quran on our head and recite this, right? 10 times. Bika ya Allahu, Bika ya Allahu, Bika ya Allah, right? So, and you say, Bi Muhammadin. You see the same preposition, Bi Muhammadin, Bi Aliyin. But you can check in your Amal book. After this, if you get a chance, check in your Amal book, you will find it is Bi Fatimata. It's not Bi Fatimati. Now, all these years you have been doing this thing, you have never noticed this thing because it is just you are doing it. But now, mashallah, you are students of Quran. Now you are learning the language, right? So now you can see. Now it's not Bi Fatimat, it's Bi Fatimata. Why? Because Fatima is a word, is a name which is a diptot. Diptots are those which does not take does not take tanmeen, nor does it take kasra, right? So Bi Fatimata, Bil Hasani, Bil Hussein, right? Till and the end Bil Hujjat. Now, one more point I would like to make. This has nothing to do with our language, but about the name Al Hassan Hussein. You can see throughout, right? It is here is Muhammadin, Aliyin, Fatimata. Is not Wa Hassanin. It's Wal Hassani. It's not Husseinin or Husseini. Now, this is a very special. This Al Hassan, Al Hussein. This was their name. Okay, you will see that even in this both these cases, right? Is Al Hassan Wal Hussein. And this is referring to that Hassan and that Hussein who are Sayyid Shabab al Jannah, who are the chief, the masters of, of paradise. So this is when you see Al Hassan, that is a special Hassan we are talking about. That is the Imam Hassan al Mujtaba. Al Hussein, we are talking of Imam Hussein Abu Abdullah. And the enemies, if you have time, there is a book known as a History of Tabari, Tariq al-Tabari. Tariq al-Tabari is a huge voluminous book. Tabari was a historian, was written about history of Islam and all this thing. One of the oldest history, right? Tabari. If you see the volume which talks about the events of Karbala, right? Because Tariq Tabari is about 38 volumes, I think. So if you see at the volume which talks about Imam Hussein, in the beginning, the person who is translated is a Shia. He is writing an interesting thing. He says that the enemies deliberately just refer to him as Hussein instead of Al Hussein. So do you see? To keep in mind that sometimes this Al has also meaning, and in this case, this Al Hassan Hussein is a respect to them, special Hassan Hussein. But this just on the side, I just want to mention. We continue about our visit. Inni alamu ghayb as-samawati wal ard. Okay. Inni alamu ghayb as-samawati wal ard. So this is also, as we said, that somebody did mention underline wal ardi. On the face of it, it seems like Wa of Qasam, followed by al-Ard. However, the Kasra under Ra of Ard, al-Ardi, is on account of Mudaf and Mudaf Ilayh. It's a rule which, inshallah, we are going to cover soon. That will, inshallah, cover future, right? But whenever you run across such a confusion, the best solution, if you remember, we also did this in level 1, the best solution is to read the translation of the verse. For example, if you look at this verse 233, he said, "O Adam," this is a translation of "O Adam, inform them of their names." And when he had informed them of their names, he said, "And the earth," right? Unseen of the heavens. Inni a'lamu ghayb as-samawati wal ard. No, I know the unseen of the heavens and the earth, and that I know whatever you disclose. Right? For the word wal ardi, the translation is "and the earth." It does not say "by the earth." If this was Ba'ul Qasam, it will be "by the earth." For example, "Washamsi," right? By the sun. "Wal qamari," by the moon. Yes, Sister Saima?
Yes, I just had two questions. Sorry, I wasn't. This is my first session with the Quranic Arabic. I just wanted to ask you. So, in like the previous slide, when you talked about the diptotes for Imam Hassan Hussein, it's very specific, referring to them. So, is that why it's also is it Bakri and Sajjadi?
No, that al-Bakri is of course, also refers to that Bakri especially.
Mm-hmm.
So. Because of that, but of course that is That is the main reason, yeah. That referring to for example, when we say Al-Baqarah, right? It automatically means that the Surah of Baqarah. You don't have a Surah of Baqarah because it refers to Baqarah means cow, but Al-Baqarah means Surah Al-Baqarah. You see, so it becomes definite. But with my Muslim understanding, especially because the enemies deliberately, drop the word Al. This I just mentioned. Yes, Dr. Farooq.
Yeah. So yeah, the question that I had was around diptones as well, and what I was trying to understand is there do I have to memorize the different diptones that exist, and then the rules that you discuss, or is there another way to know it without the memorization? Like if you talk about Fatima and Mecca and Misra.
Yeah, you will just see, for example, if you see in the Quran, that there is, for example, after Adam, automatically show that li Adama, it should be li Adami. Don't so li Adama, it should give you a kind of indication that this must be a diptone. And especially as I said that what li Adama appears times in the Quran, right? Let's say in one place there was a typo or there was a mistake. It won't be that. In case of Quran, they're very strict. But let's say that it was a typo, right? Because nowadays we take from internet, so there can be a typo. But you will not find the same mistake repeating again. You'll only know through either the way it is being used, or maybe if you find all those names which are diptos, it will be difficult because I did not find, even for me to get this answer, I had to refer to 3 to 4 books. Don't mention it. It's just assume that people know about it. Okay, so we come now to, if you can remove, those who already asked questions, if you can remove your hands so that I know that, again, you are not asking questions, otherwise there will be confusion. So Simon, also, your hand is still there. You want to ask a question? Yeah, okay.
No, so I did have one more question.
Yes, go ahead.
Because Waw of Qasam normally is a preposition, right?
Yes, yeah. Waw Qasam is a preposition here.
Okay, thank you.
Waw Qasam is a preposition. We did last week. Waw Qasam is a preposition, and after that is what the noun has the qasam. Wal-layli, right? Was-sama'i. All these are waw al-qasam. But in this case, it's is not qasam. This waw ones end the earth, and then because samawat has a qasam, samawat is on account of mudaf ilayh, which is a different kind of rule. Okay.
So then why is it like not mentioned in the slide? Maybe it was in the first session, but like when I was looking at the slide, I think number 16, it doesn't say, like when there's a list of other prepositions, how come waw al-qasam is not there?
Are you sure? We have mentioned it.
It's there.
You want me to note last? Is there, I'm sure.
Yeah, it's there.
Just check, is it there in the table? If anybody knows the slide number, you can share with Sister Saima.
Yes,
I can do
I'm not looking at the right slide.
Which number?
No, maybe I'm not looking at the right slide. I'm just looking at slide 16, for example. The one right before the prep, like where we had the exercise of Surah Daha.
No, there is another slide which is all the prepositions.
Okay. Okay. Was that in the
last one is fa and wa, you can see. There is ta and wa. Tallahi wallahi.
Yes, if someone can in the chat.
In the table you'll find. Yeah. Later on, if I time, I'm going to reload that thing, okay? It's there. The slide for session 9 has it. Okay, let's continue. Also, as this was answered already, some of us also highlighted the words min al-kafir, min al-zalimi. This is correct, but we will inshallah discuss the effect of preposition on the sound plural, al-jama' as-salim. We have not done as yet, so we will come to it later on. Now we continue. Other important points about preposition. We want to complete preposition today and get into nouns as much as possible. Majority of prepositions are written separately except for li and bi, right? Preposition, for example, mean, ila, ala are suffix. This will come out again. Prefix is something which is joined before the word. It's prefixed, right? is fixed before. And suffix, that means something which is fixed at the end. So li and bi, they don't stand independently, it is prefixed. For example, li ahli, li khamsatin, bi rahmatin, bil ghaybi. Okay, so you can see all this bi and bi and li, these are prefixed to the word li ahli. So keep this in mind. If preposition li is prefixed to a word with definite article al, then the alif of the article is dropped and the two lam are joined. For example, when we prefix to a definite word ibad, al-ibad, right? It is al-ibad, right? This al-ibad is a definite, right? Ibad is a or servants, ibadullah, servants of Allah. Al-ibad, the servants of Allah, right? It will be written as lil ibad. If you put li al-ibad, it will be lil ibad instead of li al-ibad. You see? So this is again just the written thing, because we are not learning how to write Arabic. We will not discuss detail, but just observe, because some of you people observe these things. Before you send your question, try to see if you can Google. It's good always try to find the answers on your own. You'll always find that you learn more as you try to dig into answers.
So what about
this in mind, that this is li is when it is joined, to a yes. Anybody have a question?
So sorry, Brother Hassanin, the sound keeps cutting off. I don't know if some of others are experiencing the same thing.
Yeah, I think I can see that I get the messages here that the internet is cutting off. I'm not sure why. Let me see if somebody else is using the computer down. Let me just 1 minute. Okay. Let me see it now. Like nobody's using internet. I do get these messages again and again. I'm not sure. Inshallah, tomorrow I'll try to call and see if we need to upgrade it. No, in the office we have a better system. Okay, so my apologies. This is something which is technical now. So lil ibad, in the same way you can see lil ibad, also the word lillahi. It is li Allahi, but it's written as lillahi. You see. So this is just keep in mind that this is how it's written. No? Mention about the long vowel marks. Now you'll notice that, for example, when it's long vowel, what I do, I put here a mark. Do you see this ibad? Keep this in mind, ibad. No, this is how I write it. So if you have in your computer, if you have a way, you can do this thing. This is ibad. You can spell it I-B-A-D, or just a long vowel ibad. No, this is just a mark. Example, lillahi. Do you see this? Lillahi. This is double. No? And also this comma, the comma for ayn is opening comma. This is lil ibad. This stands for ayn. The comma, which, for example, we use it to open an inverted comma. If the beginning inverted comma, opening inverted comma is known as for ayn. It stands for ayn. Example, hatta used before nouns is then noun. Example, وَإِذَا قُلْتُمْ يَا مُوسَى لَن نُؤْمِنَ لَكَ حَتَّى نَرَى اللَّهَ جَهْرًا. Oh Allah, oh Musa, we are not going to believe in Allah until we see him physically, right? So this is coming now. Of course, this is coming the next slide. So besides those pronouns, these are other words which is there in our book. If you go to our book, lesson 8, page 33. So if you go to our book page, lesson number 8. Yeah, page 32, there's a table there, right? It's the same table I put here, but slightly further, I also said how many times this word comes in the Quran. You can see. So these are some of the words, as you can see, our what author says, there are some on page 31 at the bottom, you can see. If you open the book, there are some words that have the same effect on the nouns as preposition, although not endorsed by Arab language as prepositions. So it is the same effect. Now, why? Because the reason is, I'll tell you, that min is a pronoun. You will not have min again. No, you will not find after min another min. No? After min, for example, you find always noun or something else. These are itself like noun. Before that can be preposition, right? So min badi. So you can see these are not actually preposition, but they behave like preposition. You know? So ba'du min ba'din, kullu min kulli, right? Hawla, qabla, ba'da. And what I've taken the trouble, actually, it took quite a long, almost maybe an hour to get how many times these words appear in the Quran. I've done this thing for you, means or how to use. So these are words with a property of preposition. But in reality, these are nouns. These are, for example, ma'a, inda, amama, halfa, baina, fawqa, tahta. So hina, as we said earlier, no, hina was a preposition in the earlier pronoun. Now I can bring that. What Sister Saima was asking, let me load that. Saima, did you get that preposition list?
Yeah, I saw it in the later slides where you added
Okay,
3
good,
more.
good.
I didn't look at the other ones. So that was in session 8, I
Yeah,
think.
okay, good. Yeah. So in that list is also word hina, right? So you'll find that hina is there. Yeah. And also in our text, if you see in our text on page 31, yeah, if you see page 31, those propositions which are there, ka, li, hatta, there is wa and ta.
Yeah, I
right?
always want to ask you which
Yeah.
one should we be, when you say that page number referring to the book, should I look at the one that's handwritten or the handwritten number, right? For the page number 31?
Oh, I see. No, it's not handwritten.
Yeah, I think it's
What is
31 with the
written?
handwritten. It says preposition 2.
Instead, I also put lesson number. So lesson 8, page
26.
Yeah, that the confusion is there, but you would know because just from the context. We are doing lesson 8 just now, so you won't miss it now. Okay, so these are other words. What I would like you to know, if you know them, if you learn them by, for example, memorize them, if you have good memory, it will be good. If you not, you should just know that these behave like a position. That will be enough. So as you read the Quran, when you come across this thing, right, and then you should know that it will have the same effect, that they will bring about preposition. And the examples are there. We can go now to pages 33 and 34. Okay, so from our text of lesson 8, if you open lesson 8, there won't be any mistake. Lesson 8 is the only one time, lesson 8, on page 31. So you can see then the author has given us example, right? Preposition with now. So preposition says with words, he is irresistible above its levels. You see, وَهُوَ الْقَاهِرُ فَوْقَ عِبَادِهِ. Are you with me? All of
No,
you, if you have to open the text. Yeah. Page number 33, lesson 8, C. There is B and then C. The first example is وَهُوَ الْقَاهِرُ فَوْقَ عِبَادِهِ. Then next is نَجْعَلْهُمَا تَحْتَ أَقْدَامِهِ. We shall crush them under, no, them beneath our feet. نجعلهما تحت أقدامها. تحت أقدامي on account of tahta. Even ibadi has become kasra because of fawqa. Okay. Then on page number 34, the first example, wajahidu ma'a rasulihi, and to strive and fight along with his messenger. Wajahidu ma'a rasulihi, or strive with, or do jihad with his messenger. Ma'a rasulihi. So because of ma'a, became rasulihi. So this ma'a behaves like a preposition. You see? وَمَنْ يَبْتَغِي غَيْرَ الْإِسْلَامِ دِينًا. Whole ayat is وَمَنْ يَبْتَغِي غَيْرَ الْإِسْلَامِ will not be accepted. It's not that we are trying to condemn other religions. As far as our belief is there, we believe that yes, Christianity was a religion brought by a prophet, right? But at certain time, Judaism was a religion brought by a prophet at certain time, right, in history. But then, of course, Allah sent on the final messenger. So you can see, it says, وَمَنْ يَبْتَغِي غَيْرَ الْإِسْلَامَ دِينًا فَلَنْ يُقْبَلَ مِنْهُ. Whoever is going to desire other than Islam as a religion will not be accepted. Inshallah, we will do later on. Learn in Arabic means never at all, never in future. لَنْ يُقْبَل. It will never be accepted. There is no exception, right? So here, but our discussion here is the غَيْرَ الْإِسْلَامِ. See, so غَيْرَ is also one of the, you can see, words which behaves like a preposition. Here it is, other than. You can see in the table. غَيْرَ مِن دُونِهِ. So, وَمَنْ يَبْتَغِ مِنْ غَيْرِ الْإِسْلَامِ. The next example, بَلْ أَحْيَاءٌ عِنْدَ رَبِّهِمْ. No, this is regarding shuhada. Allah says, but ahya, the shuhada are living, with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. They are not dead. If somebody dies as shaheed, although from us he has disappeared, but you can see, but ahya'un in the rabbim, but they are alive near the Lord, with the Lord or near the Lord. Right? Min ladun hakimin, you can see ladun, after this hakimin, min ladun hakimin alim, from the presence of the wise and knowing. Min ladun hakimin alim, you can see hakimin as kasraten, you see, on account of ladun, min ladun. وَمَا كُنْتَ لَدَيْهِمْ. So it is لَدَيْهِمْ, lada, and then of course, as I remember we say that alif maksura becomes yadayhim, and you were not present with them, yadayhim. So these are some of the examples of what these words which behave like preposition. This was part of lesson 8. Now this is just a footnote to our discussion. She has not mentioned, the author has not mentioned this thing, but I just thought that since we are discussing the position, we would like to finish the discussion of this position. This is the last session, last slide, that there are some prepositions, la, ma'a, inda, are used to indicate possession. So we say indahu, ma'ahu, lahu, can all means that he has. No, with him, he has, he possesses, right? So here is, for example, ذَلِكَ مَتَاعُ الْحَيَاةِ الدُّنْيَا وَاللَّهُ عِنْدَهُ حُسْنُ الْمَآبِ, right? With Allah is the finest resort. Wallahu indahu, with Allah, with Allah is or has final. كُلَّمَا دَخَلَ عَلَيْهَا زَكَرِيَّا الْمِحْرَابَ وَجَدَ عِنْدَهَا رِزْقًا. Zakaria, who was an uncle and also a guardian of Maryam, he was surprised. The position of Maryam was so great. This lady was so great. Every time Zakaria would enter to just see how she's doing, because he was the elder, he was given the responsibility to look after Maryam, who was alone living in the synagogue, right? So, كُلَّمَا دَخَلَ عَلَيْهَا Zakaria, we find with her fruits, and these were fruits which were, fresh fruits, right? So he was surprised. Zakaria was surprised. Where did you get this thing? And of course, she said, this is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And then Zakaria prays at that time that if Allah is so powerful, Allah also give me a son. And then Zakaria's dua is accepted. Just looking at the mu'jiza of position of what Maryam and his position. But indaha, you can see wajda inda. Wajda, that means with her. He found with her, it means possessing. She was possessing these fruits, right? So inda also means with her. No? And the same way, for example, inna alladhina kafaru walau anna lahum ma fil ardi jami'an wa mislahu ma'ahu Subhanallah, such a powerful ayat. We are not going to tafsir, but look at this ayat, subhanallah. And for those who disbelieve, even if they possess everything on the earth and the like of it, that means double of that, right? And they offered it as a ransom themselves from the torment of the revelation, it will not be accepted from them. You can imagine sometimes people use their money to bribe and get things done. Allah says, those who are disbelievers, if the entire world belonged to them, not only that, and also something similar, if the like of it, that means double than that. If they were to give that as a ransom, right, it will not be accepted on the day of resurrection. It will not be accepted from them. No, they will still face the punishment. Do you see this thing? So it's a very powerful verse. But here, what is lahum and ma'ahum, with them and with him? No, mislahu ma'ahum. With them, that means the disbelievers. With him, this person. And then again here, ma'ahu. Mattakhadallahu ma kana ma'ahu min ilahi, right? God is never begotten a son, nor is there any God besides him. No, ma'ahu, with him. There is no son besides him. There is no ma kana ma'ahu min ilahi. Allah does not have any son, nor does there another God besides him. Keep it ma'ahu, with him. So what just I'm trying to say, that before we end the discussion on preposition, all right, this word indahu, ma'ahu, lahu, also can mean possession. That they possess these things they have with them. Okay. Any question? Good. Next slide. Yes, Saima.
Yes, I just want to ask you. So, like for ma'ahu, why doesn't it say in the English translation? I'm just wondering, like the word besides, besides really means something different than with.
Yeah, this is when you translate, they won't use literal translation. Always, when translation, you translate and take into context. But what I'm trying to say, that these words, ma'ahu, that means with him, in the with him, in the ha with her. That's what the meaning is. But of course, when I've not changed the translation, I've kept as it is appears, because they look at the context.
Yeah. Okay. Just
good. It's good. You're asking questions that clarifies things. Now we come to lesson number 9, okay, of our book. We've finished number 8, all prepositions, alhamdulillah, and you have done well. All of you were to highlight those things. But now we go to lesson 8, which is fairly fine. So nouns have, if you open lesson 9 in your book, you can see that nouns can either be marifa or nakira. Marifa means something known, proper noun or definite noun, marifa. Proper noun, Muhammadun is a proper noun, proper name. Or al-kitab, the book, right? These are both marif. It's something which is known, right? Nakira means is not known. It's, for example, something which is strange or something. So there can be marifa or nakira. So marifa is either proper noun or definite noun. Nakira is just a common noun, it's common, or no, it's not it's indefinite, right? So keep this in mind, that we say that kitab is which is done by prefixing al and removing the tanween. It was kitabun, we prefix, add before that, al, and tanween is al kitab. So a book becomes the book, okay, and that is ma'arif. Now, proper nouns given to certain person, for example, Ibrahim, Makkatun. These are also proper nouns. Ibrahim, Muhammad, Makkah, these are proper nouns. Now, not proper noun, Ibrahim here does not carry tanween, as was the case with the word Muhammad. This is interesting.
Hasnain bhai.
Again, this is something sometimes in Arabic, certain things they are very, it's difficult to notice that. So let's go. I would like you to go to lesson 9. And if you see lesson 9, immediately they give proper nouns, right? Musa, Ibrahimu, Maryamu, Muhammadun, Ahmadu, Makkatun. You see, these are all proper nouns. But some of them has the mean, some of them do not have the mean. Yes, what's the question?
Kitab. So kitab, is it the proper noun kitabun or kitabu?
No. Kitabun is indefinite form.
Al-kitab.
Is
Al-kitab.
proper noun. Yeah, al-kitab is a definite form.
Okay.
So can be proper noun, proper name, and also a definite form. Kitab to be automatically taken as a Quran, because the book, you're talking of the Holy Book. Okay, so we go to continue. Our names given to living and non-living. So what I was trying to say, that if you go to your text, lesson 9, there are names, examples of proper noun. You can see. So not each of these have the name, right? Ibrahimu, Maryamu, Muhammadun, Ahmadu,
Husnullah, you're cutting off. You can't hear properly.
Sorry?
You can't hear properly.
Yeah. My apologies. I can see that I get this. Maybe next time what I'll do, I'm going to wear the mic. Okay.
Maybe the weather, the weather, I don't know.
Let me see if I don't have the mic is in the office now. I will try to make the mic next time, so perhaps it'll be easier. My apologies, because I get the message here that the internet is unstable. Yeah. Okay. So now, also word common nouns are given names given to living and non-living beings, and all of them with double dhamma. Again, it's there on page 30 in the text, right? If you go this harakat. Harakat is plural. Singular is harakat. Are the vowel signs dhamma, fatha, kasra that are placed on letters of nouns, verbs, and particles. So when you put a kasra or nun fatha, ka kasra, based on a grammatical rule is known as i'rab. Now you don't need to know all these things, but these are there, books. So I just thought I'll come to across the others. It's especially the last letter, because, for example, because of preposition ala, ala al-ardi, ala samai, lil malaikati. So when we put on the dal, ala al-ardi, so putting a haraka on the last letter of a noun on account of a rule is known as i'rab. Okay, just keep that in mind. It's just see Quran examples of marifa and nakira on page 31. We discussed this thing. Yeah. Yes. Now we go to Quranic example. So let's go to page 31. Marifa, actually, it's page not 31, but yeah. You go to page 31 or page 36, whatever it is, in lesson 9. وَإِذْ قَالَ إِبْرَاهِيمُ وَإِذْ قَالَ إِبْرَاهِيمُ. Ibrahimu is a marifa, proper noun. وَإِذْ قَالَ Ibrahim say. Here we know automatically which Ibrahim is referred to. Is Dawood and Jalut, not the other way. That will come later on. Here, Nu is a proper noun. So what appears in both are the proper nouns. Okay. Warasa Sulaimanu Dawuda, right? And what Sulaiman inherited Dawood. This ayat, Warasa Sulaiman Dawuda, was quoted by General Fatimah Zahra in in the khutbah of the Kia, when she gave the khutbah for the Kia. I can see your hand, Sister Samina. I know we are going to discuss about Ibrahim. Your question regarding Ibrahim, we come to it. Go ahead. Come to it now. So these are the examples you can see. Now this is something very Quran. Certain spellings are, there is a special spellings you will find in Quran, right? It's written differently. If you notice Quranic script compared to Arabic, writing, some of the words are spelled differently, slightly differently. And this is special with the Quran. I have tried to find the reason for that. I could not find, but I have a feeling that the scribes who wrote the Quran first, right? People just want to follow and keep it as. They don't want to change it. When Quran was written earlier by the scribes and then gathered as a book, right? They followed certain systems, certain spellings, and it. So, an example, Ibrahim, right? If you look at your text, and then over there is a small Ibra. Then there is he, and there is a just superscript. If you see Ibrahim, which I written earlier, look at Ibrahim here. See the spelling of Ibrahim. You see this Ibrahim? Alif Kasra, Ba with Ha with Kasra, Ya Sakin, and Mim. This is Ibrahim, what you see here. This is how the Arabs will write it. This is Arabic spelling of Ibrahim. But if you compare this with what appears in your text on page number 36, the second page on lesson 9, see how Ibrahim is spelled, right? Do you see? So what we're trying to say, that certain spellings of certain words in Quran are spelled differently in the Quran, compared to words, as I said. There is a short alif on Ra in Ibrahim. Independent, like a superscript. Between Ha and Subhana Sulaiman. In all these short alif appears, short is known as alif hanjari. The dagger alif is like a short alif. The same way Sulaiman. If you go again to our page number 36 in our book, right, when it says that Wawarisa Sulaimanu Davuda, see Sulaimanu, Sin Dhamma, Lam Fata, Ya Sakin, Mim Fata, and then there's a short alif, Sulaimanu. That is how Sulaiman is there, compared to this way. This is how Sulaiman. There's a typo here. It should be Sulaiman. No, it should not be Sulaiman. It should be Sulaiman. Let me correct. It should be Sulaiman.
Hussein, can you call this alif maksura or alif standing fatha?
Mamduda.
Mamduda.
Yeah, there's long alif. The normal alif which we say is alif mamduda. That means the long alif.
So what is alif maksura then?
Something which is like madda, extended. Now this is alif khanjariya, which is a short alif, which is just like a superscript. Now this appears a lot in the Quran, and this is the function is same as alif mamduda. There's the same alif, but they were doing, and I could not find reason. I tried to read about it on the internet, but I remember when I was in Hausa somewhere at that time, if I'm not mistaken, our teachers had said that this is how initially, when people scribed the Quran, finally when it was compiled, the Quran as it is, finally became the official codex. At that time, those who scribed, they wrote like this.
So what is alif?
Any question before we go to lesson 10?
Alif maksura.
Because it was breaking so much, Asmin Bhai, that was difficult to understand. So I don't know, is there any way you can repeat the same lessons next week?
Really?
We could barely hear it.
Subhanallah. I'm surprised. Last week we did from the same computer, same place. Something is wrong with the internet. And I checked with my family, nobody is using internet at the same time. So it could not be. And is there any concept you want me to repeat? You can just let me go from the beginning.
Not very much, but I will email it to you what I didn't understand.
Just let me know, for example, these are the slides. Anything here which has not been understood? Yeah, anybody know, we can do it, still have time.
I just wanted to ask you, like, I kind of.
9:44, I don't mind spending another 5-10 minutes. Sorry?
Sorry, I just wanted to mention, I'm not sure if you could hear me, but the part I missed that I was having trouble hearing was the part where, how does it look in the Arabic books or the Dua books, the word Ibrahim?
Oh, I see, the last one, okay. Here it is. See, this is how Ibrahim is written. Do you see this Ibrahim here? Ibrahim is 9.
Sorry, you're cutting off, but I think you're telling me to do I see Ibrahim? I'm
The
still.
first example is Ibrahim. Are you there?
Now we are here. Yeah, now we can hear.
Okay. Okay, so this is, I'm repeating this thing. Do you see?
Sheikh Hassan, can you hear me?
I'm surprised what's happening.
Yeah, Sheikh, now can you hear me? This is Farouk. Sheikh Hassan, can you hear me?
Can you hear me?
No, no, Hassan, I can't hear you.
You can't hear me?
Yeah.
You
Yeah,
can hear, can you hear?
now we can hear you, but you've been sounding like, it's been very robotic all along. And I
Okay.
think now that
My apologies.
you
We
removed the
will
video,
repeat this last few slides, inshallah.
Thank you so
Inshallah.
much. Thank you.
We'll repeat the last few slides to next, and maybe what I'll do, I'll check with the provider. This is the first time we have this problem. We have given classes from home also a number of times, but today I can see nobody else is using at home. That there'll be, so there's something wrong perhaps from the provider. No? Okay.
but also I
My
think the fact that you
apologies.
removed the video, your video, the audio is coming better as well. So the video may be
Okay, good.
taking up the bandwidth.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, great. So if you want, I can complete it now, otherwise you can do it next week. Can you all hear me?
Yes, we can hear you
Yes.
now.
Okay, because I'll remove the slide. Can you see the slides?
No, it's not good.
You see the slides?
No.
No.
Okay, we will go. Yes.